I'm just like, welcome. Who have missed me here? Thank you and welcome back to the channel. This is Chisom, Utibe Akah, your girl, and I have missed you a lot for my OG live stream gang. If today is your first time, I want to welcome you to what is an amazing platform where we encourage ourselves to develop our skills and to be all that we want to be. Right? The topic of money is so touchy for a lot of people, and from my own personal experience, I come here to share what I'm learning, what I think you should also know, especially if you are a creative who is also a Christian. You're going to find this very, very valuable. So in the past week, let me start from some life updates. So in the past week, a lot has changed, or a few things have changed. I have changed my mind twice about kind of the direction for this channel. Um, in the last 90 days between December and March, if you were here, you'd have noticed that I did daily live stream sessions for 90 days, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, I have been away from here more than a month, almost 2 months now, and I don't know why. Why should I shouldn't have done that, because when something is working for you guys, don't stop doing it, right? I thought I knew, I understood this, but obviously I kind of dabbled into other things. I won't also blame myself because I also do other things outside YouTube, and it took a lot of my time. Like, I'm a pro book editor. I'm an academic editor. I'm a publisher and other things. I'm a wife and a mom of 4, and there's so much, to life. But that goes to say that there's even so much more I can give right here, and my schedule just has to pop, right? So that has happened, and I stopped. I shouldn't have stopped. So I'm thinking I'm back, to keep growing this community. Those live streams were such amazing sessions. If you weren't here at all, I would ask that you go check out my live streams, part of this video or this channel, yeah, and just binge watch. You're going to find a lot of valuable advice, strategies. Even if I say so myself, there's so much that I have shared from my journey as a business person, starting as a freelancer, going through all of the money hurdles. You're going to learn so much from my journey, right? And then, like I said in the last few weeks, how I have changed my mind twice. Yes, I have sat down and I've told myself I wanted to bring in a little bit of the fact that my journey into building a business, trying to learn about money, growing wealth, has been because of most of my Christian values and principles, and I wanted to see how to mesh that into this channel. But so I decided maybe I should look at money from the perspective of a Christian creative. So if you noticed, I changed the description of this channel like a week ago when I was, announcing my coming back and all that. So this is a new season, guys. And but somehow I still change my mind again, because I'm like, okay, I can put in the Christian spices to my channel or to my content without really just focusing on it full time. I still want to be able to show you how to make money, the strategies really to growing wealth, because that's at the core of what I do as a book editor, as a ghostwriter, as a publisher, as a creative, right? And also, I also share a bit of my journey on how I'm monetizing YouTube, and I'm still on that journey. I got monetized in February during the live stream sessions, and which is why I said it was a bad idea that I left at all, right? I shouldn't have. So many things are in the background that also made me to decide to take a break a bit after the 90th episode, but I am back. So one of the things I want you to do is, if you looked at the name of this channel or the name of the title of this video and you thought, oh, this is something I want to hear about, we're going to dig right into it right now. But I want you to subscribe, please like this video, and let's get into this. How being rich is not a sin. I mean, is there anyone here who ever have battled with, oh my God, how can I be holy? How can I make heaven and still be super wealthy? I mean, if you're anything like me, and maybe you grew up in church, you've been a Christian all your life, doesn't mean you've been perfect. It's possible you've gone through that round, and something about that life might be standing in your way to grow wealth. And that's what I want us to talk about tonight. Are you even ready? So before we get into it like we do, let me know where you're watching from. Drop in the comment section. Drop your country flag. Tell me where you're watching from. What time is it there? Because I really appreciate that you can come in to spend time with me, and I don't take it for granted at all. So let me know. Go ahead, represent your country. Let me know where you're watching, country, city, and let's dig into, is it a sin to be rich? What does the Bible really say, about wealth and all that? And we're going to get there. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my script, and let's get into this. Have you ever felt like, being super wealthy is ungodly or might make you stray into sin? Let me give you my story, right? Like, I'm a book editor, I'm a coach, a publisher, writer, and I like to think that I can resonate, or a lot of people who are Christians can resonate with my journey. And so I want to talk about, what does the Bible really say about growing wealth? When I was 9 years old, right, I needed to sit back and listen. When I was 9 years old, something very remarkable happened to me. Happened to my family, but of course happened to me, because how I see it may not be how my next sibling saw it or how my parents even saw it, right? Which is the power of, which is part of why storytelling is such a powerful tool. Nobody has the same story. No two people have the same stories, right? So when I was 9 years old, my parents took I and my siblings to a new born again church. Okay, and the year was 1989. If you were born then, representing a comment, let me know. All right, so my mom also, within that week, persuaded me. Actually, this church was my father's church first. We were born Catholics. All my family members, extended. Everybody is a Catholic. So at that time was when my parents started going to this new church. My father in particular, because my mom was in school. She was doing her master's in the school, so she wasn't always home. And then, my father started going to this church, and then he wouldn't take us. We still go to our own neighborhood Catholic church. Then this time around, my mom came back from school. My dad took her to the church. So it became like mommy and daddy's church. But when I was 9, one day in that year, I think they started that church in 88 or so, I think so. I think a year after, thereabout. But I know we still went to a Catholic church as children for a while, right? They came and took us to their born again church, saying, "Oh, we're going to follow them," and we were excited, kids. Now we were excited that we were going to go to mommy and daddy's church. We were going to go somewhere far away. We were going to take a bus, because our own church, a Catholic church, was just by the road. We would all usually walk there. My bigger cousins would take us there and back. So that same week, before we were to go to the church, my mom came to speak to I and my younger sister, persuading us to give up our earrings. And we had this a raffia box of earrings, gold earrings, silver, all kinds, right? Before this time, my mom was like a puppet. Like, my mom was that fashionable woman, right? And my dad was also okay, but so my mom was trying to convince us to give up our earrings, that we will not be needing them anymore. And we were asking, why? And she took the whole box of jewelries and threw them away. I can still remember where she threw them. There was a bush, undeveloped parcel of land in front of where we used to live. She threw them into that place. And we were looking at it with mouth agape, like, our earrings gone. So the only ones we had on, I still remember mine was a gold earring that had a blue stone, like a blue crystal. Is it crystal? I don't know what kind of stone though. My sister's own was red and mine was blue, or thereabout, on the gold earring. And she was asking us to remove the one we had so that she can throw everything away. And in my small 9-year-old mind, I was like, "Mommy, what are you even doing? Like, how are we gonna do without our earrings? How are we gonna dress up, Anyway, but as children, our mommy was talking to us. We decided that, oh my gosh, my mommy couldn't be begging us for something that we can do. So we brought it out, gave her, and she threw it away. So we went bare. Sunday came, we followed them to their born again church. Okay, we had to go out to a particular place where people who go to that church in our district were gathered. Then a bus will come take them, or all of us now, to the place. It was quite far, but it's in the same city. And that same year, I remember that was the year that my dad could no longer repair his car. His car had a problem and was parked for a long time. He couldn't repair it. I realized that was the same year that my dad wouldn't come to see me in school anymore. I was in primary 4. Yes, he wouldn't be able to see me in school anymore because his car was bad. Then that was the year I realized that my father also lost his international marketing manager job with the CFAO. Anybody who knows that company, right? And so a lot of things were happening in my family at this time, and there's this church also came in. This story I'm telling you is the beginning of the shift, what I feel as the financial shift in my family. I have 2 siblings at this time who weren't born yet, so they can't even relate. But this was me, wondering what was happening. Now, remember, I was 9. I had already had 3 other siblings. The 4th sibling was to come that year. That is same to 1989. Now, growing up in that church, because of course we had to start going to that church every time. We didn't go to our Catholic church anymore, and started hearing things like, of course, I soon joined the choir, all that. It was fun. I mean, it was a new experience. It was something I wasn't used to as a child. And I was still a child, so my adventurous mind was still very sharp, very adaptable. Okay, so growing up in that church, I started hearing things like money is the root of all evil, and I'm like, oh, that place is in scripture, right? I started hearing things like, or rather not things, but scriptures. Actual scriptures like it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of God, right? You know where that is. So I began to kind of internalize the idea that being successful and wealthy was kind of dangerous for eternity, right? Like the moment you have a financial boom, like a financial overflow or something, you are likely less holy. Yeah. So it became a matter of time before I began to think that, I just want enough. I don't want a lot of money. I don't want a lot of success. It was the programming, like every ideology, like every religion, it made me, I realized that made me afraid of my potentials. I began to second guess myself without knowing it. I began to also think that being humble, like even if I have to fake it, was how to get by in the kingdom, if you know what I mean. Well, I developed my singing gift. I joined the choir. But when I was getting into the teenagehood, early 20s, I had become that woman who was brilliant, everything, but everything around me was saying, don't do too much, don't even study so much, don't aspire, don't, ask for too much, don't be an unbeliever, don't go don't go on the quest for more. You should focus on kingdom, right? Then one day in prayer, because I remember being very restless and unhappy and feel like I wasn't getting the answers that I needed. And I remember asking one of my choir members at the time, we call him brother, what's his name now? Bro Austin, yes. He was a core member who came to serve in my church and became our choir director at some point. And he was a little bit more objective or more liberal than all the other youth pastors I knew. So I remember always telling him, why do I feel like anytime I see people, normal people wearing earrings, I feel that they are looking beautiful, they look better than me. And he would always say, yeah, that's cool. I know he wouldn't outrightly say, why is your mind hung upon worldliness, like other people would say, Anyway, until one day I felt like I heard God saying, you need to get out and find yourself. I want to show myself. That's how I felt. I want to show you myself. I want you to know me for me, away from all the coercion, that you have experienced growing up. And I'm sure you're wondering, how does this connect to wealth and what I'm trying to say? That sparked something in me. That's when I began to dive into the word to find freedom. And freedom I found, guys. Now let's look at two key scriptures. If you have a Bible app on your phone, or you can even Google it. I mean, if you look at Proverbs 10:22, I guess, yeah, Proverbs 10:22, that said, the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and adds no sorrow. God makes you rich and doesn't add sorrow. I started wondering, how does that kind of scripture relate to me, for instance? Yeah. And God's blessing isn't just spiritual, right? That's what it means. Is make it rich is in all aspects. I know God to be a 360 God. He's not a God that gives you abundance in wealth and then allows you to spend all the money being in and out of the hospital, right? God is not a wicked God, right? He's not. So God's blessings are always tangible. You can feel it, you know it. And that's why somehow God wants us to depend on Him, right? And when God gives you something, He doesn't also make you feel guilty. So you won't be feeling like, oh my gosh, there's something else I'm supposed to do and all that. So when I read that scripture, I began to understand that God make it rich. He doesn't add sorrow with it. And so I was surrounded by a lot of people who were not very learned. I mean, in that church community, who weren't very exposed. I mean, we had a few people who were graduates, who were professionals. I'm not doubting that. I'd say majority of the people around us were people who were barely getting enough. The church atmosphere also gave up that humble, wooden chair, pews and all that. And I had a lot of problem with people always telling me that, oh no, you can't wear perfumes, you can't use body creams that makes you smell nice because it's attractive and is of the devil. I had a lot of scenarios, a lot. I mean, my dressing was always scrutinized. And it was a lot, even up to when I was in university. I had a lot of ordeals. I guess I'll do another video for that if you guys want it. But really where I'm heading to is that when I began to discover scriptures like Proverbs 10:22, I began to dwell on it, like, what does it really mean, right? Then also in 1 Timothy, I started wondering, so what does it mean? 1 Timothy 6:10, I said, what does it mean when God says the love of money is the root of all evil? I mean, they've thrown it at me a lot of times, and I started wondering, what does it really mean? The love of money is the root of all evil. I now started hearing from other people, not money itself, the love of it, right? Now, how do you differentiate when you're so obsessed with making money? In that sense, love of it. And how do you measure the temperature of the level of love that becomes evil, right? So I said, okay, I still understanding that the love there, since it's connected to evil, must be that you're obsessed, like you can do anything to make money, right? That means you can dishonor God to make money. You can cut deals that are not going to be charitable to another human being. You can, a lot of things. You can worship something that is not God just to make money. I just said, it's okay. Because money is not the problem. They didn't let me know that. I learned this while I was on my own trying to find myself. Money is not the problem. Money is neutral. Money money acts like the person who is handling it, right? And whoever is holding it, the heart of the person, is what shines So money is really a neutral thing. Of course, money has moved from where it was butter to where it was stones and artifacts to where it's now currency. So it can change form. Money is not, it's just a means, right? Then these were the truths that I learned that I also wanted to share with you guys. Why I think that money is not a sin. Being wealthy is not a sin. I have also, in my experience as doing business, I've had people who underprice their services, who give crazy discounts. How can somebody say, for instance, my product or my service is 10,000 of their currency, and then somebody says, oh my God, that's so expensive. I just have 5,000 to pay, or I have 2,000. And the person say, okay, I'll do it for you. That's not even a discount. That's like saying you don't know the worth, or you didn't set out an ab initio to make this a business. People who are afraid to actually put a cost on their value. And I remember, if you follow this channel, I remember my story where I shared how the first time I ever got paid to edit a book, 60,000 words of this drama, I couldn't even say this was how much I charged. And the person paid me a paltry sum, and I felt so happy afterwards, because that was the first time someone was actually paying for this thing I did for free. I have told that story a lot on the channel, right? But now, even if you think, like some people think, oh, they feel guilty to put a price on what they can do, then they struggle to look for money to pay for other people's services and needs that they need. So make it make sense to me. Does it make sense to me, right? So even if you want to run a charity organization, you need a house, you need people, you need system, you need things that needs money to fund, right? So if you think that, oh, your purpose in life or your calling or your skill or your passion doesn't need money, think again. You're only going about looking for money the wrong way. You're so used to begging, being handed out handouts, that you don't understand that you have something in you that you can use to fund that passion, that non-profit, idea. Even if you want to do ministry, preaching the gospel, how do you buy a microphone, a megaphone? How do you print your tracts? How do you buy a Bible? Do you understand? How do you eat enough to be able to stand to talk to people? All of that needs money, needs resources, right? I also know that God doesn't just anoint us. He equips us. If God has given you a set of skills, helped you acquire them so that you can add value to another person, you think God is wicked to leave you without the resources you need to make it happen? He's given us everything. So I started learning that not using your skills to convert them to money, to be able to learn to give out the skills more, is like burying your talent, like that guy who buried his talent in the Bible. I remember what the master told him, that he's a wicked servant. So being wealthy is part of the provision that God has given us to be able to live here, thrive, do what he asked us to do, because at the end of the day, we're going to go back to give account to him. I also learned in that period that, like I said, money is not evil. Money takes the form of who is handling it, the heart of the person handling it. If money is in your hand and you're a godly man, you're a righteous woman, obviously that money is going to build schools to help people. It's going to build enterprises. It's going to give to the needy. It's going to provide clothes for people to clothe, for people's backs. They're going to provide food for people, because you, as the handler, your heart is right. Your right is heart to humanity. Your heart is right with God. Yeah. But when money enters the hand of a corrupt man, a wicked man, he's going to use it to unleash terror on humanity as well. So who better have the money? You, of course. The righteous person. The person with such a passion. The person that wants to share. The person that has so much to give. So I would say the difference between you and them is that you have not come to the point where you understand that riches, being wealthy, is not a sin. You've not come to a point where you boldly ask for what you're worth, so that you can keep propagating the services and the good things you are, helping humanity with. You think you're still feeling guilty with charging money for all that. I used to be you, so I know exactly how that feels, but not anymore. The question will be, the money in your hand, when money gets into your hand, whose is it? Do you know what one prayer I usually make? God, give me so that other people can get. And see, for every time I pray that prayer, I've seen why I should pray more of it. And that takes me to the next thing. The third secret I discovered: you are a vessel for wealth. You're not a vault. You're not a can. I remember that that allegory about, some people want to can the resources, sit on the can. Nobody can get what is in a can. No, you are a vessel. You are a conduit, a pipe. When money gets into my hand, best believe, my friends who had birthdays are going to smile. My family members are going to smile. People's house rent is going to be contributed to, right? My children will get better things in life. Money in your hands is what makes a difference. Where your heart is where your money will go. And you're a vessel. The more you understand that you're a vessel as a Christian creative, for instance, the more you will know why money should pass through your hand than those wicked people. All over the world, there's so much chaos everywhere. There's kidnapping, there's abductions here and there. There are all sorts of evil. These people are doing these things because they have leverage, they have money, so they can buy weapons, they can do anything, they can mastermind anything because they have resources. And at the back of resources are people. If you don't have money, have you discovered how quickly also you don't have people? So God blesses you with money so that the money can flow through you to other people who have not gotten to the amount of grace to get money as you have. When you understand this, you ask for it all the time. When you stop hoarding, wanting to pack everything for yourself, being selfish, and know that God is giving me this money as a steward so that I can help other people, then you get it. I had to get to that point. I had to unlearn everything that my childhood church was teaching me, was feeding me. Of course, I had to leave the church. By the time I was 26, 27, I left it earlier, like when I was 23, 24, but I had to go back home and back and forth. But finally, at 26, 27, I left it finally because you know why. When you are a conduit, a vessel, God keeps flowing money through you. So you must be aware that you're a steward. You're not to hoard it. You're not here to worship money. That's not why we came to the world. No, we didn't come to the world to worship money. Yes, money is just a tool so that we can use to help humanity. Remember, at the end of the day, you're going to stand and tell God what you did with your time and the resources and even the beauty He gave you. I tell people all the time, there's a reason why you are as fine as you are. There are places where some other person who is not as attractive as you may not be able to penetrate with God's word or God's vibes that you will get in because, first of all, you are amazing. You are gorgeous. You can't misuse that. You can't. The same way you can't misuse the money that comes your way. So I pity anybody who still does business and then eats from there, doesn't want to expand the money, the business, doesn't want to employ more people, doesn't want to set up systems. Especially for editors, if you're an editor and you've just been working by yourself, you don't want to include other people, you don't want to grow this into an agency, and you've been doing this for years, this might be your wake-up call. Yes, you're a vessel, not a vault, right? You don't feel guilty about wanting more. I've had somebody, in fact, I had a very ugly experience this week where a particular person said, oh my gosh, your company is too greedy because we said this is how much we charge for doing XY services. And I'm like, greedy is not the word, girl. In my mind, I'm like, greedy is not the word, girl. Yeah. And it's okay, but don't feel guilty about anybody thinking that you are charging, or they can't afford your services. God also, another thing I want you to get, God is not intimidated by how much you have. I think that some people feel that if I make so much money, I won't be able to access God. God will be angry with me. God might be intimidated with me. Get off that high horse or low horse in that sense, because it's not true. God designed us for dominion. And I got this thing some years ago and I have never forgotten it. Look at everything God made. The sea at the seashore. The sand on the floor where you're standing. Can you count them? The air that you breathe. Are they limited? Does anybody control the meter? Do we buy them in kg? If we do, could you afford it? Look at everything that God made. Look at them. Everything that God made before man was created and we came in to enjoy them. God doesn't play small. God is not a small God. God is not even the size of your mind at all. So don't ever think that, I need to be, and you know, there's this thing about Christians who think, I need to be humble, one kind of fake humility. Please don't get into that trap. I like what my pastor preached today in church. He read, let's read Colossians 2, the book of Colossians 2. Read the whole of it. I think it's 23 verses, where people want to manipulate you into their own culture. This is how we do things. Don't do, don't touch, don't sit, don't do this. All of those things are entrapments of men. If you want to be a Christian, be a Christian. A Christian doesn't think limitation. You shouldn't think, I shouldn't do this. Also, you have to let go of religious fear. There's a lot of fears being peddled in the name of religion. Don't do this, don't do that. Step into the fullness of inheritance you have gotten from God, your Father. Jesus went and died because of you. Go and step into the inheritance. God did not die and send his son to die for you so that you can get healed and then be broke, or to get money and then be insane, or God, like I said before, is a 360 God. His blessings add no sorrow. It's not a sin to be wealthy, to be rich. It's actually the other way around. God called us to contentment. God called us to be salt and light of the world. How are you a salt? Like you come into a place and people feel, oh my gosh, they get succor. They know their needs are met. Spiritually, encouragement, food, money is provided because you showed up. How do you get there if you don't have resources? First of all, if you don't have resources, you won't have encouragement in your mouth, because you know what they say. A hungry man is an angry man. You are the daughter and the son of a king. Wealth is not your idol. You already have an assignment to worship the King of Kings. Nothing comes close to you worshiping it. Nothing. So these are some of the things I learned, and I just thought I wanted to share. And let me know what you think in the comment section. What is the toughest thing you have had to deal with as a Christian creative, as someone who goes to church, or anything that maybe church or religion in that sense made you regret, or you finally learned about, like I'm sharing what I've learned about after some years with you, right? One thing I want you to do, please drop in the comment section, I am a vessel for wealth. Drop in the comment section, I am a vessel for wealth. Drop in the comment section, I'm a vessel for wealth. And if you have anything to share with me, go ahead. This is the right time. If you have questions, I'll also take them. Make sure you also share this video with a friend who needs to get off the bondage of religion, poverty, and who needs to shine their light to the world, because we are a lamp, like a lamp set on a hill. Everybody should be able to see their path, because we are around them. We're supposed to guide, we're supposed to provide direction, we're supposed to provide clarity for humanity, because we draw from the source of our maker, the one who knows everything. So like you've noticed as well, a little bit of cue check before I round off. I'm trying to dedicate this channel to talking more about this, and also majorly now as Editors Business School, I'm going to be sharing more of business strategies around for people who are freelance editors, writers, publishers, coaches, anybody who wants to write a book and make money from it, anybody who wants to be a ghostwriter, all of that spectrum of creatives. And this is because this is something I have done for almost 2 decades and I have so much experience in. So I'm finally answering the call to serve you. Yes, to serve you, which is why the name of this channel has changed to Editor's Business School with Chisom. I mean, I removed the with Chisom, I don't know yet, but Editor's Business School, because it already exists, and I want to really zero in on that and share with you all that I've learned over the years, and grow a community that God will be proud of. God will be proud of how we're going to be making money, how we're going to monetize our skill, doing the things we love to do, and making money from being exactly who we are, not trying to copy anybody. All right, so that's my aim on this channel, and I welcome you to join. Okay, I'm not seeing comments. If there are comments, let me check there are comments. Okay, Mukesh J, are you still here? Hi, thank you for the positive energy in the chat. Tamiris, welcome as well. Kathish, yeah, Prince, thank you so much. African Tales, oh, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much, guys. I really hope that this encouraged you one way or the other. I'm going to come back live tomorrow, and yeah, please look out for me, and also make sure that you follow through, drop your comments, even if not live. I will always be online to answer them, and share with a friend that needs to hear this as well, and don't forget to subscribe. Next video, I'm going to share more important things around profit and purpose, and I want you to be part of it. Okay, let me know what you think about my new direction, my new name, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right, cheers, bye. Same time, right? Yeah, same time tomorrow. Catch ya.